Assalamu alaikum everybody. This is my second presentation, Environment Amid COVID. So let's start. Let's begin with the introduction. The outbreak of coronavirus disease 2019 first emerged at the end of December 2019 from the Hunan seafood market in Wuhan city of China and later was declared as an international public health emergency in a couple of weeks by the WHO, that is, World Health Organization. It is an infectious disease caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2. Genomic analysis revealed that SARS-CoV-2 is phylogenetically associated with SARS viruses and also bats could be the possible primary source. Usually, the symptoms of COVID-19 infection include fever, chills, cough, sore throat, breathing difficulty, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Severe cases might cause cardiac injury, respiratory failure, acute respiratory distress syndrome, and even lead to death. Next is let's talk about prevention. National and international authorities and experts suggest the use of non-pharmaceutical measures like wearing face masks and hand gloves, washing hands with soap, frequent use of antiseptic solution and maintaining social distance can help. To control the spread of the virus and reduce the death rate, government of most of the affected countries initiated to restrict the movement of people. India restricted the movement of the largest number of people, approximately 1.3 billion, as a preventive measure of COVID-19, which started from March 24, 2020. The global outbreak of coronavirus disease 2019 is affecting every part of human lives, including the physical world. Here is a comparison between the positive and negative sides of COVID-19 on environment. I will be discussing in detail each of these points in the upcoming slides. First of all, comes in the positive effects, the air pollution. So, reduction of air pollution and greenhouse gases emissions as industries, transportation and companies have closed down. It has brought a sudden drop of greenhouse gases emissions. It was estimated that nearly 50% reduction of methane and carbon oxide occurred due to the shutdown of heavy industries in China alone. Also, emission of NO2 is one of the key indicators of global economic activities, which indicates a sign of reduction in many countries. For example, USA, Canada, China, India, Italy, Brazil, etc. due to the recent shutdown. Usually, NO2 is emitted from the burning of fossil fuels and around 80% of which comes from motor vehicles exhaust alone. It is reported that NO2 causes acid rain with the interaction of O2 and H2O, that is water, and several respiratory diseases are suffered by humans. Now, with reduction in NO2 emissions, which has dropped from 30 to 60% in many European cities, including Barcelona, Madrid, Milan, Rome, and Paris. It was also stated that the levels of NO2 reduced by almost 70% in Delhi, the capital of India. Overall, 46% and 50% reduction of PM 2.5 and PM 10 respectively was reported in India during the nationwide lockdown, which are the parameters of the pollutants in the air. It is assumed that vehicles and aviation are key contributors of emissions and contribute almost 72% and 11% of the transport sector's greenhouse gases emission respectively. The measures taken globally for the containment of the virus are also having a dramatic impact on the aviation sector. Many countries restricted international travelers from entry and departure. Due to the decreased passengers and restrictions worldwide, flights are being cancelled by commercial aircraft and companies. Overall, we can say that much less consumption of fossil fuels lessens the greenhouse gas emission, which helps to combat against global climate change. According to International Energy Agency, that is IEA, oil demand has dropped 4,35,000 barrels globally only in 3 months of 2020 compared to the same period of last year. Besides, global coal consumption is also reduced because of less energy demand during the lockdown period. It is also projected that the pandemic could cut 1,600 metric tons of carbon dioxide, equivalent to about 4% of the global total in 2019. Next, let's see water pollution. So water pollution is a common phenomena of a developing country like India and also Bangladesh, where domestic and industrial wastes are dumped into rivers without treatment. During the lockdown period, the major industrial sources of pollution have shrunk or completely stopped, which helped to reduce the pollution load. For instance, the river Ganga and Yamuna have reached a significant level of purity due to the absence of industrial pollution in the days of lockdown in India. It is found that among the 36 real-time monitoring stations of river Ganga, water from 27 stations met the permissible limit. This improvement of water quality at Haridwar and Rishikesh was ascribed to the sudden drop of the number of visitors and 500% reduction of sewage and industrial effluents. It is reported that due to the lockdown of COVID-19, the Grand Canal of Italy turned clear and reappearances of many aquatic species was seen. Water pollution are also reduced in the beaches areas of Bangladesh, Malaysia, Thailand, Maldives and Indonesia respectively. Due to the COVID-19 lockdown, the amount of food waste has also been reduced, which ultimately reduces soil and water pollution. However, the amount of industrial water consumption has also been reduced for industrial purposes. Next, noise pollution. Noise pollution is the elevated levels of sound generated from different human activities, example machines, vehicles, construction work, which may lead to adverse effect in human and other living organisms. Noise level of Delhi is reduced drastically around 40 to 50% in the recent lockdown period. Due to the reduction of vehicle movement during the lockdown period, the noise levels of Govindpuri metro station has also been reduced up to 100 decibels. As a result, city dwellers are now enjoying the chirping of birds, which usually ranges from 40 to 50 decibels. Moreover, due to travel restrictions, the number of flights and vehicular movements have drastically reduced around the world, which have ultimately reduced the level of noise pollution. Due to the outbreak of COVID-19 and local restrictions, let me move to the next slide, which is the ecological restoration. So, due to the outbreak of COVID-19 and local restrictions, the number of tourists have reduced in the tourist spots around the world. It is estimated that the tourism industry is responsible for 8% of global greenhouse gases emission. Local administration imposed a ban on public gatherings and tourist arrivals at Cox's Bazar Sea Beach, which is known as the longest unbroken natural sand sea beach in the world. As a result of restriction, the color of sea water has changed, which usually remain turbid because of swimming, bathing, playing, and riding motorized boats. Nature gets a time to assimilate human annoyance, and due to pollution reduction, recently returning of dolphins was reported in the coast of Bay of Bengal, obviously in Bangladesh, and canals, waterways, and ports of Venice in Italy after a long decade. Now, let's see some negative impacts of COVID on environment. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, medical waste generation has increased globally. which is a major threat to public health and environment. Just for sample collection of the suspected COVID-19 patients, diagnosis treatment of huge number of patients, and disinfection purpose, lots of infectious and biomedical wastes are generated from hospitals. In the city of Ahmedabad alone, the amount of medical waste generation has increased from 550 to 600 kg per day to around 1000 kg per day at the time of the first phase of lockdown, which is around 400 kg per day increase. Such a sudden rise of hazardous waste and their proper management has become a significant challenge to the local waste management authorities. According to the recent published literature, it is reported that the SARS-CoV-2 virus can exist a day on cardboard and up to 3 days on plastics and stainless steel. So this waste should be managed properly to reduce further infection and environmental pollution. The production and use of plastic-based PPE is increased worldwide. However, due to lack of knowledge about infectious waste management, most people dump these in open places and in some cases with household wastes. Such haphazard dumping of these trashes creates clogging in waterways and worsens environmental pollution. Face masks and other plastic-based protective equipment are the potential source of microplastic fibers in the environment. Usually, polypropylene is used to make N95 masks and Tyvek for protective suits, gloves and medical face shields, which can persist for a long time and release dioxin and toxic elements to the environment. Mixing up these wastes increases the risk of disease transmission and exposure to the virus of waste workers. There has been an increase in the demand of online shopping as well for home delivery, which ultimately increases the amount of household wastes from shipped package materials. However, waste recycling is an effective way to prevent pollution, save energy and conserve natural resources. But due to the pandemic, many countries postponed the waste recycling activities to reduce the transmission of viral infection, which is again becoming a problem. Also, huge amount of disinfectants is sprayed onto roads, commercial and residential areas to exterminate SARS-CoV-2 virus. Such extensive use of disinfectants may kill non-targeted beneficial species as well, which may create ecological imbalance. The excessive use of chlorine in water to disinfect could also generate harmful byproducts. Last but not the least, I will discuss about some of the strategies of environmental sustainability. So it is assumed that all of these environmental consequences are short term. So it is high time to make a proper strategy for long-term benefit as well as sustainable environmental management. Industrialization is crucial for economic growth. However, it's time to think about sustainability. For sustainable industrialization, it is essential to shift to less energy-intensive industries, use of cleaner fuels and technologies, and strong energy-efficient policies. Use of renewable energy can lower the demand of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, which can play an important role in reducing the greenhouse gases emissions. To reduce these emissions, it is necessary to encourage people to use public transport rather than private vehicles. Besides, people should be encouraged to use bicycle for short distance and public bike sharing, which is currently being practiced in China. They should be available for mass usage, which is not only environment friendly but also beneficial for health. To maintain the daily needs and global economic growth, it is not possible to cut off energy demand like this. Hence, use of renewable energy sources like solar, wind, hydropower, geothermal heat and biomass can meet the energy demand and reduce the greenhouse gases emission. To control the challenges of water pollution, both industrial and municipal wastewater should be properly treated before discharge. Besides, Reuse of treated wastewater in non-production processes like toilet flushing and road cleaning can reduce the burden of excess water withdrawal. To reduce the burden of wastes and environmental pollution, both industrial and municipal wastes should be recycled and reused. For ecological restoration, tourist spots should be periodically shut down after a certain period of time. So here I end my presentation. Thank you so much.